Welcome back, everyone. Northwest Native Tracker here, exploring Bigfoot and other cryptid grounds for and native lore about such things. So I have spoken in the past about some of the things that I encountered during my turnout. The families of not only the Bigfoot and sun-faced people I was around, but also looks like they just got startled by something. But also an archaic creature. So the previous year to my turnout, my mother took me into the area, giving me, hands-on what she wanted me to collect and what to avoid. And part of the things to avoid, there's the little scare beast right there. You're gonna disturb everything, aren't you, buddy? Muskrat. Back off. Go on. Can't come here today. Back off. Go on. Sorry. No go, baby. Give me a minute, I'll leave. But, yeah, I'll leave. Oh, you're an otter. Hi. Well, not a muskrat. Just found another thing down here. Awesome. Well, anyway, that was interesting. I want to talk a little bit about the pterosaur, Thunderbird, that was also in my turnout area. So I've drawn a picture to try to give you some idea of what it looked like. Yeah, looks like that otter got itself some dinner. Anyhow, welcome to the real world. One of the things I had to avoid was a pterosaur. Now, it isn't a smaller one. The thing I saw, and I saw it multiple times. I even discovered where it was being kept and what time of day it was being let out by the year and family group, because they were keeping this thing probably as an egg supply. It's what my native grandmother claimed, that they would keep some of the archaic surviving creatures that were useful, and they would keep them just like other farm animals. These guys are fish eaters, but they have been known to eat people. Now, I'm going to try to give you a little better idea what the coloration is. So it had a very bright yellow beak, and underside to its jaw had a black spot underneath its beak, which I assume functions similar to seagull's orange spot, a feeder spot for them to regurgitate. So I think these guys might regurgitate. I don't know, I've never seen them feeding young. It did have a red crest. The top of the head and the face were completely bare. Looked kind of like turkey vulture top of skin, but not as wrinkled. And then it had monofilament or filamentous single cell hairs all over its body. They were kind of orange auburn in color. And then it also had a tail. And at the tip of the tail it had 5 to 7 feathers, as far as I could tell, that were lobate and very, very large. They had to have been a good 5 feet or 6 feet long and 10 inches across, but they were blue-black in color, or blue-gray, probably more accurate, because they didn't have the black sheen of like a crow or anything like that. They had more of a blue, almost heron color that had black or darker blue toning to it, maybe iridescence that couldn't be seen at distance. And the wings overall looked very much like bat wings. They were leathery. They had the little 3-toed hooks like bats have on that front limb. And the hair, filamentous hairs, or, well, they looked like hairs when it was flying. And I got to see this thing circle me once at about 30 feet above me. Scared the living out of me, and I hid under a rock for like the next hour. Prayed that it didn't god dang see me. So anyway, I can't quite remember what the color of the claws and the feet were, but I remember they were a different tone, kind of like the head maybe. And overall its wingspan was probably 20-25 feet, and body length somewhere from 30 to 35 feet, you know, from the tip of the beak all the way to the end of the tail. And its jaw looked like it had, well, beak looked like it had teeth, but I think they were part of the upper part of the beak structure. I don't think they were separate, but I could never tell because I couldn't get a close enough look. And it did look like it had a breather hole and an ear hole like most other birds, in a similar kind of setup. But overall the creature was incredibly archaic looking. So let me close up on all of my little notes here, because I managed to see it for 2 years, and I did take the time to go figure out where it nested and how it was getting in and out of the mountainside. It's a cave dweller. The Yaren kept them, like I said, as farm animals, probably egg layers, because that's what my grandmother and my mother claimed. And they will let them out early in the morning. They will fly out to the ocean. They will hunt fish, and then they come back in the evening and they would put them back away. And they were very, very careful about handling them. Even the Bigfoot avoided being very close to them when they were moving the massive, probably 20-ton boulder that they were moving. And the Bigfoot that came to move that boulder, there were 3 of them, and none of them were under 12 feet, 10, 12 feet in height. They were pretty big creatures themselves. And I tried to get close to that cave opening a couple times, and Bigfoot chased me out of there every time. The Yaren always threw rocks at me. So I've only seen this thing at distance, and then the one time it circled me really good. And yeah, it was close enough for me to get some pretty good detail of what it looked like and approximate size. And then over the years, you know, it will fly over, these creatures will fly over this valley during this time of year. So occasionally you'll see them. They do fly at a rather high altitude once they get off the ground. And they will fly up to the height of an eagle. Natives consider eagles to fly at the 20,000 foot level. And modern science is catching up to that now. These guys fly at the same level, but when they're taking off, they act more like a vulture, because they'll kind of glide and they wheel for about 20 minutes trying to get some lift. They'll do a couple of kind of bat-like, you know, flips of their wings, but they're very bat-like and kind of vulture-like in the way they fly, as far as I can tell, at least from what I noticed. So there are some notes on this kind of creature, and it used to be known that the Thunderbird Tribes, this is their totem animal. It's no longer known, but it's still in our lore to a degree. And for many, many generations, in order to become an adult, you had to collect one feather off of the tail of these guys, and it had to be this central feather that was equally armed. That was the highest prize. You could take one of these other 2 feathers, because they'll drop them in their nests. So you'd have to go to where they perched or where they lived in a cave in order to retrieve a feather. I have seen one of these feathers, and it was collected by an individual who was native. His great-great-grandfather collected it. It was still part of their trials to adulthood. So there was still some left at those times as well. And this feather was the feather that would be collected to show that you were brave and that you were strong enough to achieve that feat. The feather that I saw was approximately 4 to 5 foot in length. I didn't have time to measure it I was only allowed to see it and handle it briefly. It was approximately 10 inches across, and the quill was bigger than my thumb. So the quill was about the size of a nickel in diameter. So that's way bigger than even an eagle feather. And it was lobate in shape. The end of the feather did not come to a point like modern feathers. It was rounded like these feathers on this creature. They will have a thing that happens kind of like the roping from Papua New Guinea. Stop growling, baby. Leave it. Leave it. Whatever you're keying on, stop. Stop. I see. It's just geese, baby. Alright. Back to where I was. So, the feather... God dang it.